strong because we saw Bang try to run Kog'Maw against the Blitzcrank earlier and it did not work. So Gorilla on his second ever career game, 2 games in 450 on the famous Blitzcrank. Gonna be running it here. If Jin'er start to lose pressure on the map, the Jace will start to toil away. And Sejuani and Jarvan, we're not 100% clear where they'll go. Will it be the very, very delayed return of Sejuani top? You'd think no.
Couple seconds remaining in the... Okay, there we go. One final swap.
They
will
were
play
just trolling us.
Yeah, just trying to offset us here a little bit, get us excited to see a little bit of a different matchup there. But J4 will be going over to Khan.
It makes so much more sense to load gold on the Jarvan so he can build 2 AD items and do damage to Kog'Maw, who will always have to flash away from a Jarvan, but the Blitzcrank is the really fun pick. And we talked about how would Khan counter Jace. It does feel more like Gorilla is countering Jace because he has the Blitzcrank and Jace is free food to a Blitzcrank. So if they can get the map pressure they got against SK Telecom with the Blitzcrank drop, it's going to be happy hunting for Longzhu Gaming.
All right, well, Teddy is going to have to be so careful and position extremely well in this bottom lane if he's going to try to survive. It does have the Thresh to try to get him out of rough situations with that Dark Passage, but whether or not that's going to be enough, I do not know. But there's only one way to find out, Papa Smithy, as we get ready to load up here for game number 1, Longzhu versus Jin'er Green Wings. All right, well, the Jin'er fans fighting back.
Well, they got a lot to fight for, Achilles. It is very realistic that they make it to the playoffs. So while Longzhu arguably have the bigger prize of first place, of guaranteed top 2 for an org that has toiled, that has never made it past a quarterfinal stage. That was IM number 2 many, many moons ago. This is the chance for Longzhu Gaming, but also for Jin'er. So there's 2 sides to the story.
All right, well, everybody's sitting in the brush right now from the side of Jin'er. When they start pushing in, the answer is going to be yes. Gorilla's going to spot this now and start retreating. They're not going to be going for any fancy plays there with the potential flash death sentence.
I actually like, well, for one thing, I like Gorilla and Prey.
Biting his lip.
It's just so sexual. Can you deny it?
It's not sexy, it's just sexual.
Exactly.
Yep. This is illicit content.
We have to raise the we have to refresh the stream
Explicit
and raise
content.
the content warning.
Yep.
Good old Prey.
Some of you are not allowed to watch the stream anymore.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate. But does mean that wards could come down for Longzhu on the top side. That's for certain. Starting a big buff on Sejuani. We haven't had Sejuani jungle for a couple of days, so a reminder that you will start the big buffs, and I guess someone saw the picture of Prey, so they need to readjust themselves.
Yeah, they're like, hang on, guys. I'm not ready to observe anymore.
Seems like the issue is with Khan. We'll let you guys know if there's any more information.
He got distracted by the picture in the audience.
It's a hard life,
yeah.
You know? We do have soundproof booths, but you can't be blind to what's out there.
That's true. You can see through the glass. But will be an audio issue. So it needs his headset in order to play the game.
Looking at on the other side.
He's just going to slap himself in the face. He says, let's do it!
I mean, he has to be awake. He has to make sure that he's not sidestepping at the wrong points in the early game. Don't mind it at all. On Lee Sin, our resident Lee Sin, looking for some sick kicks. Not too much else to talk about when it comes to the game, since nothing can happen. And the comp's kind of very clear what's going on here. The moment, I mean, Jin'er really did have the choice of which way they were going to go. This was literally the sliding doors moment, because it was, will it be Kog'Maw or will it be Tristana? Both of them very different in identity. They went for the safety, but it really relies on people like to provide the pressure and coverage to ensure that it's not like Bang's day where he tried to pick up free farm and could never get 2 to 3 items because he just kept dying to accumulate the pressure from the Callista Blitzcrank.
I mean, if he loses that flash early on in the laning phase,
it's a bad time.
Oh, he is just going to be slaughtered time and time again. Very much like we saw from Tucson in our first series.
It's true. He was very well taken down.
Well, something about Longzhu on the sign.
Seems like Another person who's going to be. It seems like the Army will be picking up players. Sorry, picking up, I guess, League of Legends players, but recruits soon, as he'll be going to the Army in 4 days' time.
Yeah. We thank you for your service.
It's an important part of that sort of time of your life here in Korea.
Like how we magically were able to read that sign.
We have the magic of Joel in our headsets.
We suddenly just understood
We don't even
Korean.
need him on Skype. We've got him. Direct feed of Joel. I bet Twitch chat is very jealous.
Yeah. He's in my mind. He's kind of like Cortana in Halo.
I hope he doesn't go rampant like in Halo 3. Spoilers for Halo 3.
Oh, no. Spoiling that game from 2007 or something?
I feel like it's recent. Then I remember that's, what, 11 years old at minimum?
When did that game come out?
2006 or 7?
That sounds about right to me.
I was in university, so it was sometime after 2005.
I accidentally
I'm old also, it turns out.
I looked up Halo 2007 instead of Halo 3. We'll get there eventually. As they keep making more and more.
Do you have an official release date there?
It was actually, it was September 25th, 2007.
Look at you. Great memory of your Halo. It's almost a year. That's almost 10 years.
I have I have like a Sherlock Holmes-esque memory.
Damn, 2007 was 10 years ago.
I know. I was
so
in high school at that point.
I was 20 years old. I was in third year university.
I'm about 2.5 years away from my 10-year high school reunion.
You get to feel old like I do right now in 2.5 years then.
I get to go back and be like, hey, what do you guys do? I talk about video games in Korea.
There'll be someone more successful than you.
Oh, for sure. I'm not talking about success. I can just brag about how much I get to enjoy my job.
So my brother actually had his first kid a few years ago. He's like 2 or 3, obviously. Not at the age to really understand what my job is, but I'm so waiting to be the cool uncle. Like, I'm so ready. I'm like, no, like I'm the coolest possible uncle. I'm a video games caster.
You're the one who gives him video games every year for Christmas, and the parents are just like, no, please, like he needs to study, and you're like, no, he must play.
I want to be a bad influence. What can I say?
All right, well there you go. You get your chance, and we also get back into game here. Just 2 minutes on the clock, nothing having happened yet.
That means the Hook City still going to be open for business very shortly. Difficult lane for Teddy and Snowflower, that's for sure.
Yes, it is. I mean, you know, the Kalista gets hooked with the death sentence. It doesn't work out so well for her either, but the Blitzcrank can at least disable with that uppercut once he gets it.
The Power Fist. What a great name.
Yeah.
Level 2 not hit yet. Watching the jungle follow here.
On this skin, he's wearing boxing gloves. Does that make it a power glove?
I guess so. Nintendo would have a word about that, though. Umti doesn't spot the red buff. Usually, you would not pick up the Raptors, but he thought he would be contested the Raptors cars. He's actually level 3. He's a level higher than Umti.
Yeah.
He might be able to battle Sejuani.
He's looking for the blast cone. And Cuz says, you know what, I'm perfectly happy to take the red buff.
I mean, Cuz played that super smartly because he also separated himself from the queue by pathing the red buff in front of him. So Cuz read the potential invade from Umti, but it's not done yet.
Sees the ward come down, another sonic wave coming through. But it's just going to time out, so he's not going to have the opportunity to go forward. But Cuz is sitting on Vision, has that scrying plant coming through as well. And this is one of the longest red buff takes that I've seen in quite some time. Gorilla is going to take his time out to go ahead and path his way over, and the red buff will be taken by Cuz. So honestly, just really big time sink here for Umti.
I don't know why Umti thought he could steal away, because what you notice is at the end there, Cuz was waiting to passive ult, and he was able to do 730 damage instantly, because the passive does 10% of the max health or 400 damage maximum to those monsters. So Umti at level 2 was never realistically going to be able to steal that one away. And he just kind of delays his own jungle pathing.
Yeah.
Now, in the meantime, one of the reasons why you could do that as Umti is, you can see on your screen, Sowan's having a very happy time against Jarvan top lane, so wasn't needed top, and Taliyah was pushing in BDD mid, so it's not like Umti needed to be somewhere else.
Sure, just delaying his own items to come through, but enabling the rest of his team. So, bit of a selfless act, I suppose you would have to call it. But yeah, it is a bit of a painful matchup at the moment there for Khan. Has to use the TP to come back into lane. He just has the Corrupting Potion and a Control Ward for that back. Meanwhile, it's double longsword here for Sowan, so the damage is just going to get worse and worse.
But watching games like this will teach us something about Longzhu, because One thing you can say about Khan, has he been a superstar this season? Certainly. A breakout start? Definitely. But a selfless player hasn't necessarily been something he's been asked to be. He's largely been on counter matchup, on carry matchups. 8 games of Jace lets you know what sort of champion pool he's been running. This is a pretty thankless task, running Jarvan when you have the Battle Ward play from Umti.
There's our first hook coming down. Power Glove will knock up Snowflower, and he'll take a bit of damage from that Rend at the end.
People out of context are just going to think you don't know the name of that ability, Seth.
It's very true, but I don't care.
Drunk with power.
I don't remember that ad from Nintendo, but there we go. Cuz going to be dashing through. So on will just be forced to flash away.
No passive proc. They were 1 melee auto attack away from being able to get the stun. But this is a very selfish game for the Jarvan. He might get 1 gank, but largely it's going to be So on getting damage to champions buffs off him. Really bigging up his number at the end in the post-game thread. So it's really about Khan being much more controlled and just being an engage bot, which hasn't been his role traditionally for Longzhu.
Empty in the vicinity here, taking away these Raptors. We'll get a nice little counter jungle going. Cause is on the top side, but yeah, BDD's playing back close to the turret, so it doesn't seem like he's going to have much of an opening to try to get a gank off.
It's a very different type of draft with the Kalista Blitzcrank, because they don't have a jungle skirmishing win, and thus they don't have control of the bot side just yet. Now, if they get some successful ganks or a solo kill in mid, maybe they'll be able to recreate 3 control wards around a Kog'Maw and the impeding doom of a Blitzcrank coming from out of vision, but the vision battle's pretty hard to win when you have a pre-6 Sejuani. Now, you don't clear that ward, Achilles, because if you start clearing it and don't have vision, then this Lee Sin can just kill you.
This is fair.
So he saw it, but didn't feel like he had the latitude to kill it yet.
Just making sure that he, you know,
oh, no. In solo queue, I definitely would have killed that ward and then died.
Me too. Except I probably would have died before I killed the ward.
Really? How would you have pulled that off?
I don't know. It's that terrible.
That's talent in a different way.
I know, right?
Khan giving up 15 CS. Losing the minimum as a melee champion into Jace. It's a bit of an art form, so we'll track to see if Khan can stay around 15 to 20 CS down, but not die. That's kind of the gold standard for the Jarvan in this lane, unless he's getting some ganks from Cuz.
Well, it's going to be another slow and steady start here. The pause definitely not helping out, but just keeping things nice and calm, very much like our second game.
But there's no ambiguity that you load a couple of items in, and Longzhu are going to be super aggressive. So there is certainly some excitement around the corner, but for now, pre-ultimates on the junglers. Things are a little bit boring, like you say.
Thought perhaps we would see a little bit more action on the bottom side of the map. Trying to get a couple picks and maybe translate that into the Infernal Drake, but it's still quite the early game here.
What I'll say for Jinair is that banning Gragas, which seems weird against Cuz, but Cuz has been really playing it a lot recently. If this same draft from Longzhu exists with Gragas, insanely stronger than it is now early game, and it was the early game snowball with a Gragas in this scenario that allowed Longzhu to get ahead. Because it's the Sejuani, who really can't scrap with the Lee Sin at all. They lose a lot of 2v2s with the jungle. It means that they're much more on the back foot than they want to be. Cuz doesn't want to bait any of his lanes. If he stands in a ward and the enemy jungle is there, they will lose a 2v2 and a 3v3. It's a lot slower, and that means that Umti, even if he's not piling on farm, has relieved a lot of pressure on Jinair themselves by banning the Gragas.
Cuz coming over the wall will get spotted out by that control ward, so it's just going to have to clear that. And there's nothing really on that top side of the jungle other than the Raptors that he could go for. So probably won't be finding too much to counter jungle because Kuzan's in the vicinity, so he's just going to peel out of there.
Able to dash his way to a control ward, and Kuzan seems to have eyes on that one. Was a red ping onto the control ward spot. A couple of patches removed from the warded ping. That'll be a useful one.
Yes, it will. Especially for
Look who's
you
here.
and I, but yeah, that's going to be the flag and drag coming in. Kuzan getting locked down. Stun comes out. It's got the cleanse, and the flash has already been used, so the Cataclysm will rope him in, but it's BDD who has the first blood.
Yeah, no value out of the cleanse from Kuzan. He used it almost like it was a heal. Very strange use of the summoner spells. Maybe just a misfire. The cost will be first blood over to the Syndra. We talked about a solo kill in mid lane, not a solo kill, but still 400 gold to the Syndra. Umti, under the guise of safety, is being able to solo down the Drake, but Cuz is going to find him.
He's going to pop over the wall.
That was just chance. They did not have vision of the area.
He doesn't have a level advantage here, so the smite would be pretty even. Seems like he's just going to let the dragon reset.
I actually think that was less about having any sixth sense about the jungle and more about a pathway to ganking bot lane.
Well, they're starting it up yet again. Gorilla's in the vicinity.
There's already been a back from Prey, so that was because it was an earlier back from Teddy that they had the preferential roam on bot lane.
Snowflower's just free to go ahead and play this far forward to ensure that Umti is unhindered in this take. So it seems like Longshu, they're just going to go ahead and surrender this over. So Jin Air will put something on the board for themselves.
Very high value Infernal Drake in this purported tank meta, because we don't have a tank meta at all enacted by Jin Air. It's a DPS meta, so maximum value from Infernal.
Gorilla has the hook out, gets the power fist there, and because it's nearby, Glacial Prison comes down, they lock him in, he's got the shielding, trying to keep himself alive, and it seems like they will just go ahead and abandon the chase.
Yeah, Teddy was just able to cut off the rotation coming through from Prey. He'll just win a straight up auto attack trade if there are no supports involved. A lot of that damage is in the W passive on the Callista, so wasn't able to walk through, and thus not enough damage to take down the remaining member there of Jin Air, Snowflower, who will recall, just come back.
Yeah, you kind of have to flash to get into the range, and
just not
really worth it to take down the Thresh.
No need to put a target on your back just to pick up a kill on a Thresh. If that was Kog'Maw, I think you go for it, but getting Thresh off the map for a couple seconds, not as useful.
They force him back, that's about it. So, minor victory there. Another Infernal Drake will be on the way, and I mean, that could be a big swing here for the side of Jin Air if they can get the double, as MT goes ahead and just smites away that Scuttle Crab.
So not ideal to use your smite on a Scuttle Crab. It leaves a bit of pressure around top side, but Sejuani can jump over walls, so not that much pressure. Khan's going looking for an all-in here, but it's probably just a trade.
Yeah, just trying to trade up here. Zoan is pretty low on mana. It's a little bit back as he smacks him around with the hammer. Outside of that, be too much as he's going to get slowed up.
No Glacial Prison.
Forward. Does not have the ultimate. Khan trying to get nearby. And
it is
just
turn.
In for Zoan. He does have the flash available. Cataclysm comes down. Nicely timed there by Zoan, but has to force that one out.
Nice target selection from Alongju, trying to get the maximum in every scenario. Glacial Prison up soon.
Yet again, just locking him. He's just smacking him with the flail. Takes him very low as the Arctic Assault to go ahead and dash his way out as Zoan re-arrives with the TP.
It was coming back anyway, so no teleport waste there. Just want to get back into lane as fast as possible. Control Ward, 2 were down in bot side, but 1 already been cleared by Jin Air, so definitely not the vision denial around bot side they would have preferred here, Longzhu Gaming.
Yeah, Control Ward in there, Tri-Brush, but enemy one there in the river. Q's on, going low, as the Unleashed Power does come out.
No Magic Mantle, invaluable in that scenario. Cleanse taken largely to deal with the Sejuani, as Cuz is back top, speaking of the Sejuani.
Yeah, Zoan not having that flash. Very well cost him. Flag and Drag not going to land, nor is the Glacial Prison. Smithy, is that you? Got a little bit of damage down. Well, that's fine. All right.
He was caught mid-air. That was basically a Zach Zonia's pose right there.
Okay. Well, that's the second skyward interaction that we've had today. That's quite hilarious.
We've both gone to the skies and been denied many times today.
Khan. Wave is connected. Does he go in with that Resonating Strike? The answer's going to be no. Still fearing Cuz, who has a decent bit of mana, but that will force the J4 back, you'd have to expect.
Talking a bit about the Jace, remember that Jace gets a pretty big buff from the itemization changes in this patch. Saw a lot of Blade the Ruin King into Black Cleaver Jace previously, but even just Serrated Dirk by itself is a pretty huge power spike for the Jace. But the lethality item reworks in 714. Umti and Cuz have been tussling around the top side for the great majority of this game, but they might be bringing in reinforcements this time.
Seems like it. The turn's already going rather low, and the Weaver's Wall's available. BDD just now getting ready to roam. They're going to try to cut Khan off. He makes it over with that Flag and Drag. But can they save the turret? The answer is no. First brick goes over to Jin Air.
Predictably in a Jace lane, but nice first rotation from Jin Air. They have the Talia. They have Syndra in mid lane, not going to pop Ghost, didn't have any control over the top side. So the play from Jin Air makes a lot of sense. They're playing around where they're strongest early in the game. The jungle skirmishing disadvantage has cost Longzhu pretty heavily because they've been the team claiming a lot of these first turrets. It's not any sort of a gold lead that can't be rewritten, but whenever you see a gold lead on a Kog'Maw team, and the Kog'Maw also matching CS with a Callista, early game has probably gone better than expected for Jin Air.
Yeah, I mean, they, Longzhu in their recent games have just been dictating the pace from the get-go. I think to bringing out the likes of the Tristana, taking the turn at about 8 minutes into the game for that first gold, but
bit of an exception last time Longzhu played. When they took down Rox Tigers, they had a game 2, which was basically even farming for 28 minutes, and the game just ended in an instant in the next 3 when they were able to pick up an advantage. And this is still the sort of draft where that could happen. A bit more geared towards team fighting because they don't have the Jace or the Trundle this time for truce but push pressure, and it is very much a containment build from Khan rather than the Tiamat or the Black Cleaver just yet.
Well, yet again, we'll slow things down. We had too much skirmishing on that top side of the map, Papa Smithy, so I'm going to take it slow. SMT, yet again, not going to get hit by the Glacial Prison.
Flashes down with 35 seconds on the Drake. Will be another Infernal, and Longzhu don't want to be surrendering a second Infernal over to Jin Air. Less slipperiness on a Lee Sin is a good thing from the perspective of Longzhu.
Well, they're trying to keep tabs on them. They have those double spirits here in the river. Just cruising back and forth, trying to spot them out.
Been a bit greedy with their backs, though. Second time that Longzhu have backed in a scenario that gives Jin Air the ability to walk up, and they don't have 4 members to park around the bot side. First shot for Teddy both times translated into the first Drake, and while it won't be enough to pick up a second, it is something that Longzhu will probably look at in the VODs and want to correct.
So for now, he goes back, has the Ninja Tabby ready to go, and a couple daggers come through. So Teddy getting his items in quite nicely at the moment. Has had a relatively easy laning phase.
I love that Jin Air has really prioritized control wards on their blue side jungle. You see so many around there, and that stops Blitzcrank from roaming around the enemy jungle. That stops the teleports, because remember, the moment that both teleports are channeling, one of them is a Jarvan, the king of engage, and the other one's a Jace, the king of pokes. So they very much don't want to have a teleport war. So having 3 control wards, 4 control wards in their blue side relieves so much pressure from mid lane and bot lane that it allows the extended farming to happen. And if it means that the teleport never comes through Achilles, it does mean more items on the Cogmore.
It's going to be a near roam down to the bottom side. We saw Kuzan and Umti working their way through the jungle. Decide to peel back. Do have that Weaver's Wall available if they wanted to try to cut off Prey and Gorilla. Instead, Cuz just going to find Umti. Third time's a charm with the Glacial Prison if he wants to throw it out there. As a Brock comes through, Dragon's Rage will just knock him back.
Yeah, BD ghosted, but was so far behind. He was unlikely to be able to get into range, even if Glacial Prison was hitting.
Oh, Seismic shove in on a Cuz. He's going low. Doesn't find the smack, but the threaded volley won't connect either, so it looks like he will make it out alive. Had the flash just in case, but he gets to hold on to that one for a bit longer.
Khan's out of lane because he sees Duskblade completed on So-On, and that's painful.
Yeah. God, that's slow.
Still
quite
there,
annoying.
Yeah, still there for ranged auto attackers on patch 7.14, even though the hotfix has been applied.
Well, guess what? Jace can be whatever he wants, but the Cataclysm is going to come down. Forces out the flash yet again, and So-On just going to be zipping his way out to safety. Good posturing forward there from Khan. Goes ahead, burns out that Summoner Spell yet again.
It's been a war of Summoner Spell canceling, though, from Longzhu. They've gotten 2 in recent times, but no more than that.
Haven't been able to punish for it.
Nope.
Big burst of damage going through on a Khan, or Kuzan. Whoops. Either way, he gets out safely. Khan is also alive.
It's true. It was never going to be kill pressure onto Kuzan. That play was just about both being able to judge your damage potential, but more being about trying to force the Talia out of lane. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get first route onto the Rift Herald. In vision, we know Jin Air is attempting to take this down. He doesn't have ult.
Yeah, the pings are coming out, so Khan and Cuz making their way over here as Umti tries to solo this one. Only person nearby that could collapse to help him out is going to be So-On. So he dashes over the wall to that ward, but Longzhu is going to keep this one leash.
No jungler here from the side of Longzhu until now.
Shock Blast not connecting. It's going dangerously low. Dashes in, and it's going to be Umti coming up with it. He's going to pay for that one with his life. Maybe the rest of his team as well, as Khan goes low with a hook. Just drags Kuzan away. A double kill going over to BDD, and now So-On in the thick of the brawl here will fall. Cuz finds that. No triple kill for the Syndra, but now 4-0 on the board here for Longzhu.
Yeah, clean 3 for 0. The Rift Herald in all of the action was claimed. It wasn't left on the ground, was claimed. Snowfire wants to get his own bloodthirsty support kill.
It's going to Gonna be looking for this one. Cataclysm coming down, flag and drag, take him out, but the Ignite is ticking. One last smack will finish him off. So clean up crew, Snowflower comes up with that kill.
Kuz not going to have the damage to take him down. It's pretty critical that Kuzan actually picked up the Rift Herald. There was no guarantee that in all the chaos there'd be enough time to stand on it and pick it up.
Yeah, that would have been a massive punish if he had not been able to get that.
And I watched the replay. A big commitment from both teams. First smite is Kuz's. Gets it down very low. You'll see 62 HP, then 14 with an auto before it's claimed away from Kuzan gets on top of it. You'll actually gets hooked onto it.
Oh, Gorilla, no. What have you done?
A mistake.
Yes.
But, I mean, he hit a cool hook. It just had unfortunate ramifications he couldn't have seen coming.
I mean, it was like save the teammate or stop the Rift Herald from going over to them. You probably stop the Rift Herald from going over to them to hold on to another turret, but, well, it happened. It's in the past.
Does mean that Gorilla, despite not having bot lane turret taken down, has been unleashed on the map. They have been able to put down a lot of aggressive vision after picking up a 3 for 0. The vision war is always going to be a bit easier. So just changing up their lane assignment. A turret has crashed down, but even though it was against Longzhu Gaming, they're trying to set up their side lanes in a way which unleashes, that was a hard word to get to, unleashes the Blitzcrank, and that's really what you want to do in the mid game anyway.
Well, keeping things very close at the moment is Longzhu. Down that turret still. They pick one up, that would put them in a bit of a lead.
2-item power spike build coming through from Teddy, working towards his Ginsu Rage Blade. Will be a single target build to start, if it isn't the Hurricane from the recurve. Both heavily expected to be the Rage Blade, but does mean he comes on online, not quite in the same fashion as Prey at 2 items, but still gonna do a lot of damage.
Try to posture up there in the mid lane, but there's just too much wave clear from Kuzan, as it turns out.
Longzhu's way to win this game, because they haven't been able to deny and snowball off the Kog'Maw. That's gone. It's not going to happen this game, at least in any real way. But the game plan to me, Achilleos, is going to be playing around the Baron. If they can keep up the ward line they have now, get the control wards even more advanced, you have to respect BDD at 2 items already and a Blitzcrank when you try to come and get Baron Vision, and the Callista Secure already exists. You were posturing over the fact that it is the Void Staff second. BDD wants to be able to kill Kuzan, so that's why he wants to kill him through a Banshee Veil. They're starting the Baron. They saw a recall come through as bot lane.
They just now denied the vision with the control ward. They're going to try to go for this one. Hook comes out, does lock in on the Praise. The Weaver's Wall comes down. Snowflower straight into the thick of the fight, but he's just going to get deleted as the Unleashed power rips right through him. Teddy going into the pit, helps take down 1-2, as we do see Kuz and Prey fall. And now it's just a bit of a scramble here for, like, BDD to stay alive. One last shot, he's gonna die as BDD flashes away just out of range of the dreaded volley, and this time the hook is good, but the shock blast is better. So on, takes out BDD in one of the scrappiest fights that I've seen in a while, at right around the Baron at 22 minutes in.
Yeah, 3 for 3 around the Baron, like you say, Achilleos, but not claimed by either team. Crucially, Longzhu weren't able to force it down. Good target selection onto Prey meant that he wasn't actually going to be able to live long enough to pick up the Rend around 900 HP. We're going to see the replay. Very bold from the side of Longzhu Gaming, but I love the target selection. Killing the Callista first always feels great, but given that the Rend secure was going to exist, that was going to be the topper for Longzhu if they kept on the Baron. Awkwardly sits on the Baron long enough. Happy Foot tries to flash away. Sorry. Baron's a sniper. The real Korean sniper this game's not the Jace, it's the Baron. Although Jace does a pretty good ending to the Jace,
yeah. But, all right. That was weird.
A bit of a fiesta.
Yeah, but we'll just go our separate ways, pretend like it never even happened as the Mountain Drake does get started off here off the backside of that replay. So Mountain Drake now added on to that Infernal here for Longzhu.
And you also have to see who the big winner was of the fight, given so many kills went to both teams. And suddenly, BDD is stacked with items. 5 kills, he's added a Haunting Guys on as well.
But he's also died.
Dying's not ideal, Achilleos. He may have lost some stacks on the Dark Seal, but he went for an item build to be able to kill Kuzan. And now with both the percentage penetration and the flat penetration, Banshee Veil's not going to be enough to be a 1 rotation kill from the Syndra, so it's actually a really good item time for BDD, who is kicked.
Well, goodbye, MT. The resonating strike will get taken down as does Kuzan. A bit of an awkward flash there, just takes it
Big
even closer to the
engage.
play. Khan in the front lines will get locked up, and a
Oh!
massive stun. Scatter the weak from BDD just locks them all in as he finds a double kill, triple in the long run. Snowflower will stay alive, but Longshu say, hey, this time it's a bit safer for us to start up that Baron.
How often is the Scatter the Weak an orbital strike? But that's what it represented after the AoE that came through from the Sejuani slow after the ult registered on just Umti. They're turning on Baron again, but this time with a Mountain Drake, this time with no enemy jungler, and this time it will be Baron, except that was a crappy rend.
Yep, but he still kills it in the end. How hilarious would it be if the death sentence over the wall actually got the seal on that?
So we're going to see the replay. The first Q came in, and then BDD had unbelievable damage, so Unleashed Power did its job. Watch for the Scatter the Weak, though, here, because we see the Sejuani ult hit, and you're like, that's not enough damage, and then the Scatter the Weak hits, and that's crap loads of damage.
Yeah.
Everyone's squishy to a very accelerated Syndra. Again, only the third game of Syndra for the season for BDD. The KDA god, he's still actually below his usual KDA. He has an 11.6 on the season, so only at 11 right now. What a tawdry game for BDD. He can do better.
I can't believe he died. Bring back Fly.
Still less than 1 death a game. As long as he can register that for the regular season, that's a story in its own.
That's, yeah, just unprecedented. But, yeah, still doing pretty damn good. 8-1 and 3 right now. With this Syndra, I would love to just see him say screw it and just buy the Medjais. Like, he's already at 10 stacks, 11 stacks?
Very small on our screens. It's at least 10 or 11. I can't tell.
It's something like that. We'll see when he adds another one on there. But for now, Longshu playing the map rather well. Get quite a bit of damage down onto this top tier 2 turret. Knocked down to about half HP as well as applying some pressure there in the mid lane.
You mentioned earlier, playing around the Baron was the big win condition for Longshu with their pick. Also consider what the Baron represents, Achilles, because now you don't care about Jace and his ability to push in the face of Jarvan. Hook goes wide. You don't care about Talia's strong wave clear. The wave clear is now completely not a factor for the side of Jin Air, and now the engage, which is the big advantage Longshu has, is the big factor between the two teams.
Well, they get the mid outer there right at the end. And the Longshu just go back, spend this money that they've gotten for themselves. Righteous Glory completed for Gorilla, so he can really just hound down everybody in his sights. So, yeah, things are looking pretty good. BDD decided, you know, I don't have enough damage. Let me get another needlessly large rod.
He is ridiculously strong at this point. Will one rotation anyone, and that's not that impressive given there's no super tank on the side of Jin Air, but I think he'll one rotation overkill someone by a lot.
He could probably just ult Teddy and kill him.
This is one of those weird spots where you consider opening with ult and then just hitting the spheres onto 5 people, because just the Scatter the Weak is going to be chunking people.
Yeah. Well, this turned into a silly game for Longshu.
I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of that game 2 I was mentioning, right? You can go even with Longshu, and even if their comp excels in the early game, this comp had options in the late game. Engage. It also has a much more robust tank line. And also they knew how to win. They started Baron in kind of a Fiesta fashion very early because they thought, well, we have Secure. If we get Baron, we're going to 100% win the game. They eventually got the Baron the second time around after the Wombo coming through from BDD. And now playing the map for Jin Air is pretty much impossible. And there's 2 items on Teddy. Unfortunately, he's going to have a Jarvan and Sejuani to contend with and kind of make him irrelevant.
Well, Longshu looking for this inner turret here in mid lane. Would open the map wide for this squad. Scatter the Weak not going to be connecting, nor is the death sentence. This wall's going to come through, but everybody makes it over other than Khan, who will get booped back. He just throws down the Cataclysm, looking for the fight in the wall. He'll be destroyed.
Oh, no.
Through, BDD going forward, and goodbye, so on. He gets taken out, as does Kuzan. Another double kill. 10 kills now for BDD. The death sentence connects in onto that Syndra, but it doesn't even matter because Longshu is just diving underneath. Can we have it? 2 pentakills in a day? The answer is going to be no. He's not in a position to take out Snowflower, but he'll get the Quadra, the next best thing, and Longshu gaming this game has just been blown wide open by the squad, by that man on your screen. BDD destroying Jin-Air.
He almost never shows emotion, but you know on the inside he has to be elated. Longzhu looking to make it 11 in a row, continuing their gallop towards booking themselves a top 2 guaranteed spot. And the game's just going to end here, Achilles.
I mean, it's 15 seconds left on to Teddy. Kuzan about to come up, so maybe he could try to find a kill onto the Syndra, but even then, Prey is there to just go ahead and knock down these turrets. So it seems like that's just going to be it. 30 minutes about on the clock here. Shock Blast coming through as Soan dives in looking for BDD, but he still stays alive, finds another kill as the Nexus crumbles. And Longzhu Gaming start things off with a pretty big statement. They say, you know what? You can go even with us, but if you don't get ahead, we will crush you.
The moment they get ahead, because it's not about whether the enemy gets ahead, it's if Longzhu, as you say, ever plays to their win condition. They always know what they need to win. Is it vision denial in bot lane to shut down Bang's Cogmore? Is it looking at the enemy team and saying, okay, 4-1, very strong. Wave clear, very strong. Let's get the Baron and use our engage. They played around the Baron. It looked sloppy the first time, but the second time got them exactly what they needed. And the moment BD had 5 kills and that scat of the week chunked out 3 people, you knew it was only ever going to go the way of Longzhu Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, they think that they have Khan caught out here, but Cataclysm comes down, he's cut off, and then BDD just keeps finding these stuns.
The E did 50% plus HP of the enemy. He just wanted to take down Jace to stop any sort of poke from there, and it's just so easy to clean up when QW is doing 80% of the health of most people on the enemy team. Desperately trying to take him down. The true damage is not enough. The stun, perfect from Kaz. Short cooldown on that when you change targets, and the gallop continues, Achilles. And okay, Jin-Air aren't what they're going to have next week, but what do we make if Longzhu can beat KT and Samsung in the fashion that they've beaten every other challenger in the past 11 games?
I think we just bow to our new overlords here in Korea, Papa Smithing, because Longzhu are looking pretty damn good. Khan able to come out ahead as well with that J4 matchup, playing for the team, not playing selfishly as a carrier. So it's a good look for 7-14 Longzhu.
What happens when Khan has to pull back, when Khan has to be controlled? Apparently BDD takes his place. There's carries everywhere. It's not just Prey, it's not just Gorilla, it's not just Khan. It's a whole team.
Yep. Everybody looking deadly in their own right, and Jin-Air have to be